So this is my review of the Danger Boy. This is heat race number 1 from Tampa, Florida, 2023. And Danger Boy is going to come out with a hole shot. So let's take a moment to just consider how much this kid has progressed since Futures back in Anaheim 2. So in Anaheim 2, he starts, he's got great lap times. He's probably the favorite to win. And he crashes twice. And he throws the race away, ends up with a 5th place. Then we move to Houston. Houston is his first professional race. It's his first chance at racing with the big boys. And what does he do? Pulls a 9th place start and consistently works his way up through the ranks all the way to 4th place. So he takes 4th place in his first ever professional race. Now, we're lining up on Heat 2 here, which is Haiden Deegan's. I mixed up. It was Heat 2 with Haiden Deegan. So Lawrence is in this. And what we're going to see is an incredible opportunity that Haiden Deegan seized. And so watch him as he comes around this first corner. He just decides to check out, which is really quite incredible if you consider, like, he's 16 years old. This is his second professional race, and this kind of almost puts him in that category of James Stewart, where Stewart struggled that first Supercross and then came out and he won the overall, right? So we don't know how this is going to finish out, but here Haiden Deegan actually just throws down some impressive laps all the way through the entire heat. Now there was a little bit of chaos, right, because Lawrence went down, I think, early on in the moto, and so he had to work his way up. But nonetheless, a hole shot and a win is a win. And so we're going to watch Deegan applying that incredible corner speed that he had coming through Houston. We saw that played over and over and over all through the week, where it was just an incredible 180-degree corner. Here we've got Deegan crashing in Tampa. He actually flipped over and landed on his back. Like, that was a hardcore crash. And to come back out and hole shot the heat race and then ride in the fashion that he did, especially toward the end of the moto. In the end of the moto, we see the rain starting to come down. A lot of people are crashing. Jordan Smith had multiple crashes over and over and over, and was able to work back up as well. But Haiden really rode a smart race. And one of the things that I'd want to comment on, one of the things that I'd bring out, is that Haiden, if you go back to the Fowler's facts that they share from this Supercross team, Haiden Deegan had the most consistent lap times of anyone on the 250s in Houston, which means his slowest lap and his fastest lap were the most consistent. Like, the time between the two was the smallest, the shortest amount of time as anyone else on the track in the entire field. And so consider that. The ability for him to remain consistent as he progresses through a race. And that was as he was working up, right? He was actually passing people. He was in battles. We know he passed the 6-time champ Jeremy Martin as he came in to the turn before the whoops, and he flowed through the outer portion of the turn, and he sent it through the whoops, and he actually passed Jeremy Martin in the whoops. It's just an incredible amount of learning depth that Haiden Deegan has taken on. And one of the comments I really enjoyed Ricky Carmichael made this week about Haiden Deegan was that Haiden was able to go from a 5th place in Futures at A2 to 7 days later, to a 1 weekend later, he adjusted his racecraft to the point where he was able to run to a 4th place overall finish in the professional ranks. So consider how much learning ability that Haiden Deegan is applying, right? As he goes home, he goes back, he goes to the Star Racing team, he does his homework, and he's applying all of that information, all of that knowledge, and putting it into application in 7 days. Now that is something, I liked how Brian Deegan talked about this, how you know, it's important for Haiden to go out and race with the professionals, because without that experience with the professionals, he just isn't going to progress at the same speed that he would with the professionals. And there are a lot of interesting points on that. It's maybe a little bit dangerous, right? But Danger Boy's brave enough to take it on, and he did it incredibly well. And so as he progressed through the race, we saw these huge improvements. We saw this huge confidence boost. And now we're seeing him with 1:44 left in heat race 2 of his first ever heat race win, which is absolutely incredible for a 16-year-old. It's not a win, but it very much could put him in that category of Ricky Carmichael, of James Stewart, coming out of Trey Canard. Trey Canard actually had quite an impressive run in his rookie year as well. Lots of wins that he stacked up. I believe it was 4 wins. So it's an exciting time to be able to embrace a rider like Haiden Deegan and see how he's come up through the ranks. Like you can literally watch probably nearly since he was 10 years old, or even a little. Well, he was in racing the KTM Juniors Challenge, right, on the 50s. So from basically his racing time ever riding a bike all the way up until he's 16 years old, we're watching this massive progression, and the young man comes out and crushes this heat race, right? Just rode smart, rode consistent. And then as it wraps up, you'll get his words here at the end of the race, where they interview him. And there were a lot of really interesting comments that came out this week. One of the comments that really jumped out at me was Haiden, in an interview, had said, you know, these guys, these professionals, they actually make a lot of mistakes. And hey, those guys make a lot of mistakes. Like, just because they're professionals doesn't mean they're perfect. And so there are a lot of mistakes that do occur, and there are a lot of mistakes that have to be overcome. And what he did in Houston was actually very impressive, because he minimized all of those mistakes, like to the point where a two-time world champ, Tom Val, actually crashed. And there was no way that Haiden was going to catch Tom, but Tom made a mistake, and he paid for it in position. Now, I don't know if Haiden was actually, a 4th place finisher in Houston. Like, the lap times wouldn't suggest that, but his consistency suggests he's a 4th place finisher. And the way it looks tonight, it is very likely he could be a podium contender. This is an incredible ride. There's absolutely nothing to discount or take away from him in what he's done here. It's just flat incredible. There's the win. And so here in just a few moments, we're going to have a chance to listen to Haiden actually speak about this win, what it means to him. You can just see the excitement on the young man's face. And I'm flatly excited for him too. This is a long progression, and he's just presented with so much wisdom in the process, like so much patience, knowing, hey, this is a long career. I want to be in for the long haul.
I'm going to ask you the question point blank. Did you think you would be down here with a heat race win this early in your pro career?
Honestly, no. It's just the start, so I got to keep learning, and this is a crazy way to start it off. It was surreal, leading the whole race, riding smooth, and I'm just happy to be up on the front. And no goals for tonight in the main. Just go out there, have fun, and keep learning. See where we end up.
Learning is going very well for Haiden Deegan. He gets the heat race win tonight.